are requirements to protect the depositors. Next, yeah, this is the formula. Like there are two types of two types of capital are measured here. One, tier one capital, it absorbs losses without a bank being that is a bank is being required to cease the trading. And tier two capital, what does it do? It absorbs losses in the event of winding up, and so provides a lesser degree of protection to depositors. So that is divided by the risk weighted assets. So risk weighted assets take into amount credit risk or market risk or operational risks. Next. So according to the BI Basel third norm stipulated, a capital to risk weighted assets is 8%. That is what has been assigned by Basel norms. However, as per RBI norms, as per RBI norms, it is the commercial banks are scheduled to maintain a 9%, while for Indian public sector, it is told to keep a CAR of 12%. So capital adequacy ratio determines the bank's capacity, as I told you initially, to meet the time liabilities and the risks. Also, in most simple formulation, a bank's capital is a cushion for potential losses and protects the bank's depositors and other lenders. Banking regulators in most countries define and monitor CAR to protect depositors, thereby maintaining confidence in the banking system. So CAR is similar to leverages, since assets are by definition equal to debt plus equity. A transformation is required. Unlike traditional leverages, however, CAR recognizes that assets can have different levels of risk. This is the introduction.
So now we'll talk about the why we need CAR. So the bank in the modern world faces an inherent risk of insolvency when it's a huge risk. A lot of people are investing in saving their money in these banks, and it gets a chance giving out debt and have a great risk of getting bankrupt. So to avoid such problems, they created this capital adequacy ratios. Bank must maintain adequate capital in their vaults for surviving contingent situation, which is any uncertain situation they need to face with this sort of contingent amount. So this also helps in avoiding economic getting collapsed, because a lot of people's money are being saved up by bank. So if the bank goes bankrupt, a lot of economy economy gets collapsed due to this. So regulatory bodies are involved in creation of enforcement, that like RBI gives certain norms to these, government and RBI gives certain norms to capital adequacy ratios. Capital adequacy ratio mandate that a certain amount of the deposit to be kept aside whenever the loan is being made outside to any customer or people. A certain amount of fund need to be kept aside as per the percentage mentioned. The capital adequacy ratio are laid based on the credit exposure the particular bank has, and it is also in different trenches, like tier 1, tier 2, like we spoke in introduction. So there are different multi-layered levels to these capital adequacy which they calculate. Credit exposure of the banks are not considered at an equal footing either. So next is merits by Melvin. Melvin?
Yes, sir. So the merits, sir. Sir, protection from solvency of banks, which can lead to liquidity risk. So just a second. Liquidity risk as well as credit risk.
Melvin, you are not properly.
Sorry, sir.
You wear formal dress and you have to shave your beard.
Yes, sir. That from February 1 I will do, sir. Yes.
Huh?
From Feb 1st, sir.
No, man, you are doing presentation. Even online also should be in formal.
Yes, sir.
Shave
Okay.
and you have to be in formal dress.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Please change your dress and come.
Right now only, sir?
Yeah. Others you do. Others are there in the team, no? Namita, Melvin, Nivin, Nivin, Mamita,
Yes, sir.
yeah. It is told very clearly, you have to be in formal dress. Okay, you have to be, yeah. Start, Nivin. Nivin, start. Can you hear me, Nivin?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please start.
Sir, about the current scenario, the capital adequacy ratio of banks may fall in 133 basis points to 13.3% by March 2021. And this is comparison to March 2020 under the baseline state of scenario according to Financial Stability Report, FSR, by Reserve Bank of India. An analysis of the impact of a fall in equity prices of the bank capital and profit indicates that the system level capital adequacy ratio, which is declined by 57 bps, that's basic points in the baseline underlay 55% drop to the equity prices. And the Basel III norms stipulated a capital risk weighted asset as of 8%. However, as per RBI norms, Indian scheduled commercial banks are required to maintain a capital adequacy ratio of 9%. But the public sector banks are emphasized to maintain a CR of 12%. 12%. Okay, that's it, sir.
What do you mean by system level capital adequacy?
What's that?
What do you mean by system level capital adequacy?
Level.
Second point. That's what I'm talking about.
Sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me. Okay, next. Who is next?
Sir, I will do it, sir. I am ready now, sir.
Yeah. Continue, Melvin. All your seminars are recorded, okay? So keep it in mind.
Okay, sir.
Namita is not there, huh? Today she's not doing.
He's doing, sir.
But she's not
Sir, I'm here only, sir.
Okay, be ready. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Melvin,
Yes, sir. Yeah, sir. So the merits are protection from solvency of banks, which can lead to liquidity risk as well as credit, sir, as well as credit risk. So the protection, like the banks will be protected from the solvency. That is one of the merit, and to acquire the real investment in order to provide the financial services, and so helps the bank to maintain capital based on riskness of
no, is
each
it
loan.
solvency or insolvency?
Sorry, sir.
Whether it is going to protect from the solvency of the banks or insolvency of the bank. Bank is solvent, there is no problem only, no?
Insolvency.
I think
Okay,
it's
yes,
a mistake in your
solvent.
point only.
Yes, sir, insolvency. Sorry, sir. My bad, sir.
Yeah. See, when the company is solvent, so no need to worry about that. So how is your CAR is going to help? It is going to protect you from the insolvency.
Yes, sir.
The bank becoming insolvent.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sir. And helps the bank to maintain capital based on a riskness of each loan exposure, and sir, protect financial institution, FI, insurance fund and taxpayers, and preserve confidence in the financial institution. And so these were the few merits which I came to know.
What is
And demerits.
the acquire spelling?
Sorry, sir.
What is the spelling of acquire?
Sir, ACQUIRE only, sir. I is one.
You have to
Yes,
check everything when you're doing presentation. You should check each and every slide.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so the demerits are sir, lacks lacks originality, and it is based on the historical data which is collected, and so goes in hand with the cash flow statement, and so the uncertainty which leads to wrong applicability. Okay, so these are the few merits and demerits.
Yeah, Namita Mariam Jo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be saying on the calculation of capital adequacy ratio. So the capital adequacy ratio is calculated by Tier 1 capital plus Tier 2 capital, the whole divided by risk-weighted assets. So Tier 1 capital consists of the shareholders' equity and their retained earnings. Tier 2 consists of revalued reserves, undisclosed reserves, and hybrid securities. And there's a
What do you mean by hybrid securities?
yeah, and so hybrid securities can be a combination of two or more securities like debt or equity, like a combination.
Example? Can you give me example of hybrid?
Debt or equity, sir.
Example.
The preferred
Debt and
stocks.
equity, sir.
So preferred stocks and all.
Equity, you're talking about the properties. I'm asking
Preferred debentures and are all hybrid stocks.
why you're answering, Pranay.
Sorry, sir.
Why are you answering?
Sorry, sir.
It is not for the group, it is for the presenter only. Namita,
Okay, sir.
yeah,
Yes,
you should know all these things.
hybrid securities.
Yeah,
Sir, debt and equity is also a hybrid security, sir.
debt equity
Convertible bonds.
classification. You're not understanding difference between classification and difference between the example what I'm telling you to tell.
Okay, sir. I'll make the changes.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. Can I move on?
Yeah, continue.
So there's an example of calculation of capital adequacy ratio. So in the question, the Tier 1 capital and Tier 2 capital is directly given. So we can calculate it by Pranit. Next slide. Okay, yeah. So we could like actually add up the Tier 1 and Tier 2 capital. So for calculating the risk weighting ratio, you can add the amount of all the particulars into the capital risk weighting percentage,
So from where
and
you
you
got
get an amount. And
weight-
so we could
risk weights from where you got?
Google, sir.
Fun?
Risk weight was already given in the question, sir.
Which question?
Like I said, it's given in the question. Like directly, it's not an indirect question. They were directly given in the question. Yeah, so we could like the calculate it with the amount into risk weighting ratio.
See, weight is given for
Yes, sir.
debenture, we say 10% only. How can you give debenture
Okay.
90% weight? What do you mean by risk weight here? This is not the probability calculation. You're not calculating probability. Okay. See, the weights are given by the RBI.
Okay.
You have to do
Yes, sir.
as per the Basel committee. They will give
Okay.
the how much weight you can give for debenture, how much for government securities. Okay, these weights are wrong.
Yes, sir.
You please refer my note
Okay, sir.
that I shared in the class. The
Yes, sir.
video is there on the video.
Yes, sir. I was taken.
Go through that. See, government treasury bill 0%.
Yes, sir.
Loans to corporate 10%. Loans to small business 20%. Guarantees and other balance exposure 10% only. Okay, it cannot be more than
Okay, sir.
20%. You have given 90, 75. I really don't know from where you got all this. Okay, the weights are wrong.
Sir, there was a question there.
Weights are given in the, you please refer
Yes, sir.
RBI website, it is there in the RBI website. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, please change this.
Yes, sir. Well, okay, sir. Well, in conclusion, you could say that the CR is 10%. So according to Basel, it's 8%. So the company can withstand the losses that they could actually withstand the partial losses and protect the depositors' money as it is 10%. So the minimum amount is I said by Basel is 8%. So yes, in this question, we could say that they can withstand, the company can withstand the losses.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
Namaste, please rework this, and next week again you have to do.
Yes, sir.
The calculation part you have to do once again.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah. Pranit,
Yes.
over, no, everyone?
Sorry, sir?
Everybody done?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, Rose Angeline?
Yes, sir.
No?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. So, Rose, whom should I make a co-host?
Me, sir. Me.
Okay. Okay, so you are the co-host now. Share your screen.
Sir, I'm unable to share.
Yeah, one minute. Sorry. By mistake, I removed your co-host. Yeah, now you check.
Yes.
Yeah. All are present? Abhi,
Yes.
Teresa, Renika. Me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do it quickly. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. We are going to present on the topic use of technology in banking. The banking sector has begun to utilize more of the modern technological advancements, and many of these advancements make use of data and artificial intelligence for higher level of personalization and consumer fulfillment. We are going to look into 10 different technologies which are being adopted by the banks. First one is augmented reality. Augmented reality is an interactive experience of a real world environment through digital elements. It can quickly help one to locate nearby banks and ATMs and lead them towards it. Then it also provides information related to payment gateways, budgeting, data visualization, and many more. Few of the banks which have successfully adopted this technologies are Axis Bank. It offers augmented reality navigation. Through this app, the app can show them the nearest ATM and branches and provide the directions towards them. Next is Westpac Bank, which is located in New Zealand. It has developed its own AR mobile app through which the customers can scan credit and debit card through their mobile phones. And next is Citibank, located. It has come up with a holographic workstation. It uses AR data visualization for finance and trading. Next is Commonwealth Bank, which has developed AR property guide app. Through this app, it enables users to scan a property near them and then get all the necessary information. Next is blockchain. It is an open distributed ledger that records transaction between two parties efficiently and permanently. It allows multiple parties to access the same data simultaneously and also ensures the integrity of the records. Another area where bank will show huge saving is by using blockchain is in KYC operation. By removing the middleman, the blockchain lowers the asset exchange fees and reduces the instability of the traditional securities market. Over to Robbie.
The next one is the robotic process automation. So it is mainly used to make the work of the human a little more easy. The volume of unstructured data that the bank has to process is increasing exponentially with the rise of the digital economy. So this is not just because of the banking transaction data, but also behavioral data that could potentially allow banks to improve customer experience. And this has made bankers realize that they need to find technologies that can mimic human action and judgment at a higher speed and quality. So these technologies consist of machine learning, natural language processing, chatbot, robotic process automation, and it also helps to learn and improve many in this robotic process automation. And it is in the years to come, we would see some current cognitive capabilities that being bundled with the robotic process to achieve even better results. This is already being implemented in point of sale solution that automatically suggest marketing promotion that would be most effective for an individual customer. And the next one is a hybrid cloud. So this is one of the biggest challenges that the digital age has brought to banking in the need to respond quickly. The constantly evolving market that banks operate in requires them to be agile as possible. So they need to be able to provide resources across the enterprise in a timely manner to address business problems faster. And the high performing banks have discovered that the most effective way of achieving is through an enterprise wide hybrid cloud. So this allows them to pick benefits of both public and private while addressing issues like data security, governance, and compliance with the ability to mobilize large resources in a matter of minutes. And the hybrid cloud also allows banks to offer innovative new offerings to its customers. For example, ICICI Bank has partnered with Zoho to allow business to automate the basic reconciliation process through Zoho Books. That's all.
Okay. Next.
Sir, we will do, sir.
This team should finish now. Teresa, Renuka, and Jemmy is still there.
Yes, sir.
Them complete.
So I'm going to be talking about quantum computing. So as we all know, quantum computing is basically used to operate complex data operations. And computers uses bits of two values, which is in ones and zeros. One of the benefits of quantum computing is that they solve increasing problems in areas like cyber security to safeguard customer financial data using cryptography. And also financial data that is encoded with quantum cryptography is far more secure than the current levels of digital security. So firms like JP Morgan and Barclays are investing in quantum computing research in partnership with IBM. Next slide. The next one is prescriptive security. So, yeah. So, as we all know, cyber risk always changes at a great speed. And banks these days adopt to advanced analytical and real-time monitoring in order to detect these threats beforehand itself. So basically, banks use big data analysis techniques in order to view these threats even before they take place. So this is what is called as prescriptive security. And this is the way forward to stop the ever increasing data breaches that various organizations are reporting. Thank you. Next.
I'll be talking about artificial intelligence and API platform. Artificial intelligence has emerged in all the fields, and banks are looking at artificial intelligence as a differentiator to beat down the emerging competition. Artificial intelligence allows banks to use the large histories of data that they can capture for making better decisions. Artificial intelligence would revolutionize banks by shifting the focus from the scale of assets to scale of data. The banks would now aim to deliver tailored experience to their customers rather than building mass products for large markets. Instead of retaining customers through high switching costs, banks would now be able to become more customer focused and retain them by providing high retention benefits. Banks are no more dependent on human ingenuity for improving their services with the adaptation of AI. Next slide. API platform. banks need to build banking stacks that allows them to be a platform to which customers and third-party service providers can connect to deliver a flexible and personalized experience to the end users. To do so, they can use API platforms for banking. It is designed to work through APIs that sit between the bank's backend execution and front-end experiences provided by either the bank itself or third-party partners. The time when banks could control the whole customer experience through a monolithic system that controlled everything from keeping records to every customer's interaction is long gone. Thank you.
What is API, Renuka?
So it's an application programming interface where third parties can access to particular services and data. Sir.
This means you are talking about app-based banking.
What? I didn't get you, sir.
App-based banking you're talking about?
Yes, sir. Like in certain banks, when we do our credit of shopping from online platform, the services are provided to UPI and all those, sir.
Okay, yeah. Next.
So good afternoon to one and all present here. The next innovation in banking that uses technology is instant payment. That will be the first one that I would like to present. So in instant payments, when the user transacts money from one bank account to another, it is processed within seconds. And the major features involved in instant payment are availability, because instant payments can be processed at any time. That is 24 hours a day, the services can be available. Unlike other banking transactions, as well as the speed of the transaction is completed within 10 seconds of each transaction being done. And that makes the user more convenient to apply to this instant payment and use it for various activities. So convenience has been like it's facilitated experience for the user, because the user can transact that particular amount of money at any time and anywhere. And that's how the payment initiation has been processed. And security or the digital authentication is done through various apps, because in the most of the app that people uses are Google Pay, wherein we have the UPI ID is being created for each particular app user, and that's how the amount is being transacted, and therefore it is based on authentication. Next slide, please.
Why do you say NEFT is not immediate payment? No, NEFT will take time.
Yes, sir.
Immediately.
Yeah, only like for example, Google Pay makes the transaction more easier or faster. NEFT transaction takes much more time than Google Pay, because it's been the bank has been involved, where that mobile application comparatively takes lesser timing for instant payments. And UPI IDs
come under instant payment.
Yes, sir.
NEFT doesn't come under instant payment.
NEFT, yes, sir. For those examples, that the payment system examples only, sir. Next slide, please. Next is a smart meshing technology that has been implemented by the banking technology these days. Because, for example, the today, especially by offices, Google's Alexa, wherein Alexa is something that is being used by all of us, not in the banking sector. In banking sector, chatbot is being used. And what exactly is chatbot? Chatbot is a computer application program wherein a human voice text or chat is being transferred by a application through mobile phone. There is no particular person involved in it. It is automatically, and notification is being given to the maybe the customer's mobile number. And that's how chatbot works. And some of the chatbots that's been implemented in banking technologies as SCR chatbot that has been introduced by State Bank of India. This chat assistant addresses the customer's inquiries, and whatever the needs that they require is being addressed through that mobile application. And that's how banking tasks are being done. And EVO chatbot by HDFC Bank, iPal chatbot by ICICI Bank. These are some of the chatbots that's been used in the banking technology recently, so that this helps the people to address or the problems that they face has been addressed quickly or more conveniently. That's it, sir.
Okay. Okay, so Namita, please work out that CIA correction. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So See again, still 4 students still not submitted the first assignment. I'm been keep telling you 6 students still they're not submitted. Melvin James, you are there in the class?